It's all about showing people the real value of design. But design is not the end product, the aesthetics that is just the value. It's really the entire process. It's about who thought of doing it, you know? How did they make it? What was that entire process? Who are they making it for? Why are they making it? What situation are they in? Who are the contributors to that whole process? This is really like the core value of design, you know? We're talking about design that is no longer about, you know, mass manufacturing loads of, you know, plastics that nobody really needs and everybody keeps throwing away. This is what we should value. And this is something that people should start thinking about too. You know, this is also definitely about sustainability. I think the way I see it, there is no way that this design community is really going to be able to sustain itself if there aren't people around it that are kind of helping that happen. If you actually create this idea that this is something valuable, that people should come and see it, experience it, meet these people, why not buy Lebanese design? Why not use Lebanese designer services rather than go for these international brands? And once you make people see that, I think that's the real value of like sustaining the design economy, you know? The kid.
It's really hard for me to kind of talk about Beirut River because I never knew the actual natural Beirut River. So when we are talking to people in the community who have been here for that long and who remember having picnics and hikes and swimming and fishing in the river and having all of these kind of family gatherings, and the community was knitted much more across the two sides of the river. Whereas now they're confronted with 4-meter high walls on either side of the river, 6 or 7 lanes of highway and cars and pollution and so many other things. It's very hard for us to grasp the change. So for us, it's very clear that the river has shifted from something that's very natural to something that's become totally artificial, which is a sewage stream. And so what we'd like, you know, to invite you to join us in is to bring the river back to life. So not necessarily for it to become a river, a natural river again, because that's impossible given the urban encroachment around it. But what are some of the services that the river used to give us, such as the supporting services for us and other animals and plants? What are the cultural services that the river used to give us? What are the provisioning services in terms of fresh drinking water and irrigation? All of these things. So how can we bring those back throughout these interventions that we're proposing? So in a way, if we achieve to bring back these, what we call ecosystem services, we have brought the river back to life and we have improved the living conditions of the communities that are living nearby. For us, I mean, this is a practical implementation of those ideas that we've been studying. And it's a way for us to get feedback from the people, from the community, from people who are coming and getting engaged with it. So all of this local knowledge is very important, and it's one of the great things about having a physical intervention is that people can actually come and interact. And when we open it up to the larger public to see what are their day-to-day problems and how they have come up with solutions, because they've been living here far longer than we've been doing our research. So they've already found ways around the system, let's say. We deserve to get a river, a clean body of water in the cities. It's the Beirut River. It's representative of our capital, and we have nothing to show for it. So please join us and lend a hand whenever you can.
My name is Guillaume Credos, and credos come from the Latin credo, which means believer. That's why I evangelize a bit on the design and how energy and faith you have to put inside of it. And that's why I created this collective, and that's why I'm teaching, etc. It's part of this believing thing.
The Beirut Makers is an open collective that anybody can join. And we're putting our forces together to explore what digital fabrication is changing in the world of design. And you've got the craftsman usually and the designer. And this is a typical association of people. The designer creating the design and doing first sketch, and then the craftsman taking care of manufacturability. And now this new breed of creative, the makers, they are able to tackle the information, to put it together well enough so a machine can be doing the work. So those persons are becoming completely responsible 100% from the creation to the manufacturing. And this gives them more control, so as well on which material to use, how to do it, the techniques, and also on better control on the price. And this is why our first exhibition was affordable design, because we were able to control and to replicate and to make more. We are not creating like design art, a single object that costs a fortune. No, we are creating objects that you can actually manufacture at an affordable price. This chair is based on a very famous carpenter. It's one of the most worldwide known one. He was born in America, but from a Lebanese family, Sam Marlouf. And he created the joint which is named by its name. It's this joint, which is based on a double shoulder. It has been moved to digital fabrication and to aluminum. This logo means made from recycled material, and this logo means recyclable. So it's from aluminum, it's made in Lebanon, and I call it hands, because this comes all from a movement where I got a bit pissed off of seeing only platonic shapes being designed and manufactured in Lebanon. And I think we can do better, hence this chair. Try to prove that we can do complex geometry with continuous surface, and this could all be done here, and this could be at an affordable price. I'm releasing a book for Beirut Design Week, a 300-page book, a theory about conception in design and in architecture. And I think the next step is that I will go in teaching and I will try to break that circle and empower the new generation with the real tool of digital fabrication and computing, and giving them the real capacity to understand complex morphologies, the topologies, and to move forward with it. Because it has to, they have to. We cannot stay behind so long, it's over.
Alonsor, essentially, it comes from the root word for Al-Unsuriya, which means racism, but the root word for Al-Unsuriya actually means element. So the project is about searching for a common element, a way that people can interact and overcome racial barriers and prejudices. Over the last few days, we've managed to do some workshops at the Migrant Community Centre. And one of the things that the women we spoke to communicated to us is that they want more than anything to be seen, to be humanized, and for their creative talents to be appreciated. Black spaces and Lebanese spaces exist in very distinct places. There are very few opportunities for people to mix outside the context of being domestic workers. What we're trying to do at Alonsor is to create and cultivate more spaces and ways that Lebanese people can interact with cultures, tastes, sounds, and aesthetics that come from contexts that are traditionally associated with domestic workers. Our first pilot today, Aesthetics of the African Diaspora, brought an African-American artist and designer over to spark a conversation about how design, specifically African head wrapping, can be used as a way to engage, to be educated, and to appreciate the cultural heritage that Lebanon has that's been untapped. It's about social and cultural sustainability. Despite all of the migration back and forth between the Lebanese and Africans, why is it that the cultures haven't managed to fuse and to create something new? Social and cultural sustainability happens when you start to treat people as creative beings that can contribute to the economy rather than as just exploited labor.
So we mapped some sounds of Karantina. We took these sounds and
we transformed them into actual curves and actual forms. So the forms are actually mapped using those slides. Those slides represent the 4 eras of Karantina. First is the exile, when the refugees came to Karantina. The second is the massacre that happened in Karantina during the Civil War. The third is the movement, that's the Industrial Revolution. And fourth is the revival right now when Karantina is is being revived by all of those new exhibitions and nightclubs.
I think as designers, there's something really beautiful about that process where you arrive to a place who has an incredible history. You find a language to overlay onto it, and suddenly things that you didn't really imagine start happening. So in that sense, the transformation comes from the design process. My name is Ana Serrano. I'm trained as an architect, a musician, and a choreographer. And I have a passion about movement, the way we get moved by space and the way space moves us. So this installation is very much about affects and effects and the way we perceive spaces and what are the elements that make us move in there. To me, sustainability, sustaining things, is not just about the way we build, it's not just about the way we look at the world. To me, it's actually about memory and retaining those memories and celebrating those memories. So being sustainable designers is also, to me, a manner of reusing spaces, celebrating those spaces for what they are and bringing a new layer onto them. Karantina is a historical place. It has so many layers. We were actually keeping and reviving those memories. It's the memories of fights, it's the memories of resistance, it's the memories of what Beirut is made out of. And we wanted to encapsulate that in the installation. Working with Lebanese students and students from all over the Middle East, bringing their own interest and their own passions into the architecture was incredible for me. This is their city. I mean, they chose Beirut to study. They've been looking at Beirut from an architectural point of view for many years. And for them to be able to engage with the history and to have something to say, to be able to say something to the design world, I wanted them to actually make every single panel, every single thing that you see in here has been very beautifully put together by a huge number of students who really believed in the project and they wanted to make it happen. Everything we do as part of as citizens of a city is political. There's no way out of politics. Politics in that sense is a place where we all get together because the cities we live in, the cities we fall in love, the cities we die are for us to enjoy and for us to look after and to take care of. So we're all political in that sense. And as designers, we have a very strong way of getting into the politics without staying away from the polemical part of the politics.